Welcome back. Well, the local currency, the rand, under pressure tonight, reaching highs of 17 rand 65 cents against the US dollar in earlier trade, on the back of the uncertainty after the release of the Phala report. Investor sentiment quite sluggish as well. Markets waiting for more details on what will happen to President Cyril Ramaphosa. The rand surpassing 3-week lows on the day the currency should have benefited from a weaker dollar. Analysts say if it were not for a weaker dollar, the rand would be in an even worse position. Matete Tulare is the head of FX execution at Rand Merchant Bank. Matete, good evening to you, and thanks very much indeed for your time. How bad has it been?
Well, good afternoon, Stephen. I suppose if you think about it, the rand has weakened more than 4% against the dollar just today, and I suppose that's as markets really await clarity on the position of President Cyril Ramaphosa, especially after the advisory panel found that he may have violated the Constitution. Now, this is the biggest one-day loss since November 2016 on a closing basis. Now, the reversal today marks a very stark contrast to the market reaction that we saw between November 2017 and February 2018 when Ramaphosa obviously emerged, and that helped fuel a 27% rally in the currency. Now, as I said, earlier just this afternoon, we've touched highs of 1788. But in context, if you think about the rand, the 2022 highs is around that 1844 level, and also the all-time highs that we have reached against the dollar is 1935, which was during the height of COVID. So it looks like it's another rattlesnake time for the rand in December. This reminds me of Nenegate, where the rand lost 2 rand against the dollar, and obviously we remember what happened over the weekend, and we had a new finance minister coming in post all of that. And as you say, amazingly, the dollar has traded weak against all currencies, and obviously this is on the back of the cooling inflation that we are seeing there, which is obviously paving the way for slower pace of interest rate hikes from the Federal Reserve Bank. But from a local perspective, and as we've been highlighting for the past few weeks, a lot of uncertainties and also the political uncertainty is rising in South Africa, and markets really hate uncertainty. And I think this is where we were looking for Ramaphosa to easily cruise to a second term. But I suppose now the tables have turned, and obviously now between the 16th and the 21st of December, it's going to be quite interesting to see what plays itself out and who emerges as the new leadership of the ANC.
In a way, this is all about the market being surprised, and markets don't like a surprise. They had one version in their head of what was going to happen, and then something completely different happened.
Exactly, and as I say, the markets really dread the political instability and often prefer to go with the devil that you know rather than the devil that you don't. And obviously right now, at this point in time, I think it is about the policy changes that we face as a country to obviously ignite growth, and obviously the unemployment that we find ourselves in, and also, the continued electricity supply issues that have plagued the market confidence. And obviously now, with just the latest political crisis, it is starting to push the rand over. But as we said, obviously we are waiting for some sort of announcement, and obviously we'll wait to see how that plays itself out, and the markets will keep digesting these news and headlines as they play themselves out.
How important, then, is the issue of what happens next? We've got the NEC meeting tomorrow. It's about many things, right? There could be a caretaker president for a couple of weeks until after the ANC conference if the president does resign. On one level, that might be a good thing, might be a bad thing, depending on who that person is, because it means the uncertainty will continue for another 2 to 3 weeks.
Exactly. And as we say, it's all about how do these things play themselves out. If anything, I think what we've accustomed to ourselves to is the fact that the rand is no stranger to riots being triggered by political drama. If you remember 2015, December the 9th, we dropped about 5.2% on the back of Nenegate. We also dumped, another further few losses when Pravin Gordhan also came out. But also, it's all about, the next few weeks in terms of what happens in terms of who comes in. And also, I think what we also need to take into account is the fact that there's a lot of global risk factors and key events that still need to play themselves out which the rand also has to digest. And obviously, right now, who comes in on the 16th to the 21st of December, that's also now going to be something that the markets will really wait to see, because obviously it's all about policy certainty. I mean, we really need some sort of certainty to know where we're going as a country, and the global markets like that. So I think it is obviously one of those things that, as much as we keep watching these markets, but it's obviously about what the headlines say and what comes up over the next day or two.
If there's silence for 2 days, what happens? Does it get worse?
I suppose that's the interesting factor, because, I mean, it's all going to be a bit of a lull, and I suppose it's also going to create that uncertainty that we talk about. And I suppose if that's the case, we're also going to wait to see all the announcements. I suppose at this point in time, it's a case of wait and see. And I mean, if that happens where we don't have any announcement or any sort of statements being released, I suppose the markets will just, be in a bit of a lull state. And I suppose it's all going to be now on the back of a reaction in terms of what gets announced. But as we said, I mean, earlier, as one of the commentators said, we are waiting for something this evening at 8 o'clock. And I think this is going to be quite interesting, because this is going to be during the New York session. And obviously the local markets would have closed, but the currency markets won't have closed. And obviously this will see the rand to have some sort of a reaction, with a positive or negative, on the back of that statement or announcement that we're waiting for this evening.
Matete Tulare, thank you, Head of FX Execution at Rand Merchant Bank. Do appreciate the time.